Don't cry cause it ain't gon' rain every day. Don't despair cause it ain't your way. Keep it real, make the best out of any situation that you come across. Some lose, some lost, I'ma shake it off and get back to what I'm really about. Give the crowd something to feel. Tell me why you scream.
Okay, and welcome back to the Jonessa Podcast.
Conversations from the couch. We gonna tell them. Y'all know something? We just completed that like 3 times because Joe wanted to start saying it in a different way.
I wanted to switch it up a little bit. You don't have to do the same thing every time.
Yes, we do.
Can switch it up.
It's a ritual. It's a tradition.
That was funny. I kept messing up because you kept looking at me.
No, you kept messing up because that's not a part of our intro.
Golly, that was too funny.
It's not a part of our intro.
What's going on? What's up? How's everything going?
I can't complain. Sipping on my tea.
We ain't gonna tell them why, though. Sometimes you just gotta have tea.
You just gotta have tea. You know, sip on it.
Kind of mellows you out after long, hard days of work. Mm-hmm. Hey, we'll go ahead and apologize right off the jump. We're a few days late. It was a long weekend. We had a holiday. And also, we're going to keep it a buck. Listen,
I was about to say you better. Oh, okay, thank you.
We have a great marriage.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about the other day how cool it is that we're such good friends.
Yeah.
But we weren't on the same page.
We fell out.
Keep it 100. Like, we're going to keep it real.
Yeah, we fell slap out. I didn't know if we was going to start the Jonessa Podcast, Conversations from the Couch, back up. We fell out.
We fell out, but...
Oh, now we're fine.
We're good.
But it was, honestly, I'm glad that we kind of had a falling out because... because today, think about it, today was just a really good day.
It was.
We're both, focused on like our plan that we talked about and what we're trying to do and implement. So I will say, even when tough times come, and it wasn't even, really, it was big, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like detrimental. So don't even start digging. It really puts things into perspective when you have like, difficult times, because now it's like, okay, I appreciate you more. I appreciate you telling the truth. I appreciate you being honest, and that we had the relationship to be able to open up to one another, to say our wants and our needs, to be able to meet each other halfway.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still on a little bit of a high because college football is back.
College football.
Even though my squad, which I'm representing on today's episode, didn't win.
But they
played very well.
But they did play very well. Like, kudos to the coach and what he's doing with the players, because it's definitely a different team. It's not the same Florida State that we usually see. Yeah. You gonna give my team props?
South Carolina won as well. Y'all really didn't play stiff competition, but...
See, mind the business that pays you. I'm sitting up here giving your team props and congratulating you, and you gonna do me like that?
I'm glad that y'all came away with the victory.
Thank you.
College football is back, and on top of that, and I'm not ashamed to say this, even though I'm 36, I'm loyal. My favorite artist dropped an album.
Oh, but listen, we not gonna act like that album wasn't good, though.
The album was good, but what I am disappointed about is seeing... I know social media is social media, and if you've been following the Jonessa Podcast...
Y'all know Joe don't care for social media.
To see grown people go back and forth about albums, because Drake dropped an album and Kanye West dropped an album, and instead of people giving their opinions, I like this one, but I didn't particularly like this one as much, or vice versa... It was like name calling and going at it, like, if you like this album over this album, you're this. And I'm like,
silly.
That's silly. They're two completely different artists. When it comes to Drake, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get this, the same formula. He's going to have some bangers. He's going to talk about his personal life, and he's going to talk about relationships.
Yeah.
Kanye West, which his album Donda, I don't think you listened to it.
No, ma'am. No, sir.
I enjoyed it. But it was different. But Kanye West...
But does it give you like 2006 Kanye West vibes? Because when I listened to the Drake album, it gave me 2010 Drake vibes.
Because that's Drake. He's always going to give you... He's going to put you
I don't have
back.
time to be listening to something that's not going to be reminiscent of what I'm used to.
Which is cool. But And I'm bringing this up because it's gonna lead us into what we're gonna talk about tonight.
My tea, my bad.
Because with Kanye West, he's always, Kanye West, he's a different type of character, but he's always evolving and he's always changing. And one album to the next album is going to be different because Kanye West is going on this different journey to where he's this person one day, he might be on this thing the next day,
Right.
which Drake is more, he's going to be consistent. But that's okay.
I appreciate that in Drake.
But in relationships, though, there are going to be times where and you said it so well during the last episode where you have to, I can't remember exactly what you said verbatim, but we were talking about just the different changes and how you have to be prepared for that. And we've dealt with some big changes over the course of our marriage. Some bigger and some smaller, but the particular one we want to talk about is just like our spiritual journeys, because
I don't really think a lot of people know.
They should know. I'm pretty open about it.
Yeah, but nah. I don't think a lot of people recognize or realize this. Yeah,
I have a YouTube channel that people can go and
I don't think so. But I do think it's important that we talk about it.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, be transparent about it. And I'm sure people are going to have their different views concerning it and what they think should be done and what should not be done. But I think it is important that we talk about it.
Yeah. So the title of this episode is not just a clickbait title. It is the truth. Like, my wife is a Christian, my husband is not.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always like that.
No.
We started off on the same page, but we all arrive at different points during our journeys for various reasons. So I guess just kind of talk about your spiritual journey individually, then I'll talk about mine, and we can talk about our journey as a couple. Yeah.
Okay. So growing up, I would say that as like a child, I attended church. Like, I attended church with my siblings. It wasn't necessarily something that my mom took us to go and do, but we did it together as like brothers and sisters. And so we attended church, and it was a Pentecostal church. And so some of the methodologies and things like that were different, but I knew at a very young age that I felt God and I felt some spiritual connection when I went to church. Like, if a song came on, like, it was just, they hit that right note, like, I'd be like the kid crying over in the corner, like, oh my God, like, just, I've always felt the presence of God. I really can say that genuinely as a child. And so growing up, and not growing up in the church, but not necessarily having someone make me go to church, I found my own relationship with God and my own spiritual path, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so growing up, going on through high school and things, I started going to church more so with my middle sister, and we attended church together. And then when I went to college, I still attended church. And so I was just more so attending church. I will say I hadn't necessarily started always reading my Bible and things like that. Like, I had been baptized, but then the older I got, the more of an importance it was to me to really practice my faith and what I believed. So started to go into things like Bible study, reading my Bible, doing devotion, just doing things like that kept me through my whole entire life, my whole entire week, instead of just doing something on Sunday. Because if I'm honest, like, for most of my life, that's what it was, just a practice on Sunday. And so as I continued to get older, I just realized, like, okay, I still felt that calling of God. I still felt that I wanted to be a part of the Christian faith. And so from, I would say, like 7 until now, I've always been the push to, like, I want to do this. Like, this is what I want to do with my life. Nobody really told me, Jonessa. Well, my mama did. Like, I don't mean it like that. Like, my mama did tell me, like, go to church and things like that.
But it was go around with the anointing oil.
Listen, my mama would bust up into your room and anoint your head with oil and speak over you in tongues. She did not play. But she wasn't really big on church when we were growing up, like having us go as like a family unit. So I definitely kind of just found my own way of how I wanted to follow Christ. And so fast forward when we even when we were dating, you remember I used to be like,
yeah, you did.
I just feel God and I blah, blah. Like I used to be like real, like just really, it's hard to articulate. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words. So I just knew that following Christ was something that I wanted to do. And I knew that the person I married, essentially, when we got married, like that's what I wanted. And I was very clear. It was nothing that I hid or anything from you. Like you remember, I remember like being on the outside of your mama's apartment, her condo or whatever. And it was something, I don't know what happened, but I was just telling you, I was like, I feel a calling on my life and I know that God is, I don't even remember. But my relationship with God, Christ, following the Christian faith had never been, I never hid it from you. I always told you up front, like my brother is a pastor. Yeah. So it was just something that has always been very important to me. So that's my spiritual journey. I don't want to go too far in it because I want to be able to like double back and talk about, some things that transpired, but definitely being a Christian was something that I really didn't even think twice about.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you grow up in the South, specifically if you grow up black in the South, you
gotta narrow it down? See,
I'm just gonna keep it.
Why you gotta keep? Okay, I'm sorry.
Just
my
be
bad.
honest.
My bad.
You went to church on Sunday, or
but but the thing is, my church wasn't even the church I went to when I was a kid. Wasn't even. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, he went to the church on the weekends, like or you had to go to church on Easter and Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Like those are the two Sundays. Like everybody was at church that day, and yeah, like you said, when we met, I would go to church, and I was a Christian. I followed the Christian.
You were on the usher board.
Yeah, I was on the usher board, and I was a practicing Christian. I guess the best way to articulate it. And shameless plug, go watch my YouTube channel, You Versus Life. I speak about this very specifically about my journey. I go into great detail, but I will touch on some things. Just kind of fast forward to my spiritual journey. Like, I went to church. Mom took us to church. My father, like your brother, is a minister. There are preachers. Listen, when I was a little kid, that's what everybody used to always say.
It's not too late. Can keep on going.
They would always tell me he's going to be a preacher. He's going to be a preacher. It was crazy.
You're still young. Continue.
Or a minister, but there are different ways and different avenues you can minister to people. Mm-hmm. But to go on, like I was saying, that's my train of thought. I was always in the church. My mother kept us in the church. My mother, man, me and my brother used to try to fake like we were still asleep on Sundays because it was some days we wanted to play hooky, but very active, and we read the Bible, and I always, and I still say this to this day, like the story, not the story, but the message of Jesus still resonates with me. If you choose to model his life, model your life after him, then there's no arguing against that. I mean, that's cool with me. I'm always a person that's very studious and always seeking out knowledge and always wanting to find out different things. And I guess you can say I went down the religious rabbit hole when I took a course in college called the Psychology of Religion. That's what really kind of sparked my what's the word I'm looking for? Interest. Curiosity. When I took the course, the Psychology of Religion, we studied all the different religions: Buddhism, Hinduism, Islamic, Christianity. We studied all those different religions in that course, and I just found it fascinating how all these religions kind of all said the same thing or follow the similar like template, and even like the main characters, to use for lack of a better term, all had the same characteristics, even all the way down to like their stories. And I just found that so interesting. Like, wow, all these different religions like all pretty much say the same thing, but there's so much separation when it comes to religion. So that kind of opened up Pandora's box, so to speak, and I just continuously did more research and just became just fascinated about religion, and the pull of Christianity really didn't resonate with me so much, and I started just kind of to like identify myself as just like a spiritual person, and not more so get caught up in a particular label. And it just kind of continuously manifested to where I am today. And yes, I do believe in a God or a creator of everything, of the universe and all that. I'm not an atheist. I think people that's just such an easy term to be derogatory towards someone who doesn't practice the same faith as you. That's just easy to say. You really don't even want to get to know or care. But I definitely am not an atheist. I believe in God. I believe in a supreme creator that is control of everything that we do. I just do not practice a specific religion.
And when we can also kind of talk about our journey as a couple, and to be transparent about it. So once we got married, we moved to a different area in South Carolina, and we wanted to make our own church. Like we felt like, you know what, we have to leave the church that we've been attending, like as we going through college, and then like your home church of where we were, and like we wanted to find a church together to be able to practice what then was both of our religions. And so we would go to Bible study together, faithfully, like, and you know, they were like, everybody's like,
we'll be the only young couple
yeah, we're
in
the
there,
only
man.
Young couple, and this is when we were like super duper young,
yes,
like, and so they be looking at us, and we'd be there with bells on, and it was just something that we enjoyed doing together, and we would go to church together. And so that's kind of where we were as a couple. Like we were on the exact same page about everything. We felt the same, and we were just kind of, you know, trying to figure things out as a married couple.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, we were on the same page, and really, I think around 2000 is interesting because last episode you said you kind of like touched on this a little bit, but I don't even think you realized it. Like when you said when we went through a transition, like in 2015.
Well, no, it was it was 2016, 17.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
But it kind of started. I want to say it kind of started.
No. Listen, I can distinctly remember it was in 16, 15 because that's when it was in 16, 17 because that's when I was pregnant with Jackson, and by the end of that year. We might as well just jump on into it. By the end of that year,
I think that was maybe this is my first time really verbalizing it.
That was the first time you verbalized it. I mean, because up until that point, we were still attending church. Now, it was few and far between because I was very, very much so pregnant, and I just didn't have like a lot of energy. So we were not attending like our regular service, but I don't think it really registered to me. And so then at the end of 2016. That's when you told me. Yeah. It shook my world. It
was something like.
It shook my world.
I had to tell you. And because prior to me even getting to that point, I never shared this with you, but like I reached a point in my spiritual journey when I was practicing Christianity where I felt so empty. Like, I felt like I was faking it because it wasn't resonating with me, and I was trying so hard because I already knew how you felt about it. To where one day when we were living in Greenville, 7 Point Hope Court.
Don't give my address.
We don't live there now,
but other people do.
Facts. Sorry. Where I was in the bathroom one day, just bawling, crying.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I was crying like. Begging for an answer because I was so confused because I was trying to be who everyone thought I should be while at the same time trying to make sense of this new spiritual path that I was going down. And I remember watching a video of one of the individuals who also really played a big part. And I was crying, and I just asked God, I'm like, just make sense of this. If this is where I should be, and this information that I'm receiving is the path I should follow, then please just give me a sign. And no lie, when I stepped out of the bathroom, that little side closet door?
Mm-hmm. It was real little?
Real small.
Yeah.
I stepped out of the bathroom. It was the weirdest thing. It was literally illuminated in gold. I thought, and it was like, I took it as a sign, like, open that door because you're on the right path. Like, it was just, I never seen that before in my life. Like, the door was just lit up.
Well, you held that for a long time because you did not tell me anything about that until we moved again.
Yeah.
Since we, so you held that in for a long time. Was I at home?
Yeah.
Where was I?
Yeah, you're downstairs with cinnamon, I guess.
Oh, okay.
We're really big into cinnamon.
Okay. Well, okay, and so then that happened, but I mean, I still felt like it took you some months.
Yeah.
Months, because it wasn't until the end of 2016 I can remember it, like where you finally came to me and you told me. And I think at first I was more consumed about what other people were going to think. Mm-hmm. And we also talked about that in our last podcast about expectations of others and how that can weigh on you. So at first I was extremely I really thought more about what people were going to think. And I mean, and it really, honestly, you all, like, I hadn't ever came into interactions with someone that didn't necessarily, either like I had met Christians or I had met like an atheist. I had never met someone that believed in God, but just in a different way. And so when you were explaining that all to me, like, it was very hard to swallow. I mean, it was hard to understand, hard to comprehend. And I mean, there was a lot of times that there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of just heartache because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, because how I, practicing and believing, like, if you believe in two separate things, and we had just had a baby. Yeah. And that was really hard because I'm thinking, what are we going to do with Jackson? Like, what are we going to teach him to believe? Because, like, when I practice something, I practice it. Like, what I believe in, I believe in. And so it was hard. Like 2016, the end of it, to 2017 was difficult. Yeah. And with just having the baby, it's not like I was going to church because, we had him during the winter time. So we didn't want to have germs and things. So it was a very difficult place to be in because you had just told me that, and then I wasn't necessarily being around other people that believed like I believed. So it was hard. Yeah.
But I mean, we managed, and I guess we can kind of share, like, the audience is probably wondering, like, what did y'all decide to do with Jackson? And I'm a big believer that the mother is the child's first teacher. And
the parents.
Yeah, the parents, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And the mother lays certain foundation down. And at the end of the day, just as with me, like, Jackson's going to find his own path. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how much we try to teach him or guide him, because my mother is a Christian, my father's a Christian, I was reared in the church, but I still chose my own path, a path that ultimately I'm at peace with and I feel like free with. And if Jackson decides to be a devout Christian, that's great. That's his path. That's his journey. If he doesn't, just like my wife accepted me and continue to love me, we're going to accept him and continue to love him, even if it's because at the end of the day, it's differences and views, it's differences and lifestyles. But if you love that person, you value and treasure that person, you have to embrace the differences. Yeah. So, I mean, Jackson, when we were going to face-to-face church, we've been in the world that we've been living in, so we've been going to church online, but
Jackson would attend church with me. Joe, I would ask Joe, like, that was also something that we discussed. I was like, well, I still want you to come to church with me. And so it wasn't like every Sunday that you would come, but you would come. And I mean, once I feel comfortable enough to start going back to church face to face, like, I mean, I still feel like you're going to come, and we're still going to have Jackson is still going to be a part of the Christian faith, you know, as a child. And I've just had to come to the realization, like, I know the God I pray to, I know what I believe. And so I just have to pray that things are going to work out for the best for my family. So I think sometimes this could drive a big wedge in your relationship of like, okay, I think I'm going to leave. And if I'm honest, there was a point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can be married to someone that's not a Christian. But at the same time, is that something Christ-like? You know, like, is that Christ-like? Because you do believe in God, you do have a spiritual walk, and you do want to do the right thing. So I have to figure that out as a wife. And so it's deeper now that we are married. It's deeper than, oh, well, he doesn't believe the same thing I believe, so I have to leave him. Yeah. No, it's not at that point anymore. So if you are married, I think you can understand what I am saying. But if you're still single, it might be kind of hard for you to fathom. And I will tell you, as a single person, we're working through it as a married couple, but I don't recommend it. You know, if I'm being honest, like, if you're with someone that you're dating and y'all do have different views, I think it's something you really genuinely to talk about. Like, are we working through this? Yes, because we are married. But as a single person, I can't necessarily, honestly, I know that's mean, but
I mean, I understand why you say that, but if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. That's probably going to be a factor in keeping someone from being in a relationship if you're not married. Well, like, I understand that.
Well,
but if you, let's say you're 6 months into a serious relationship.
Y'all should have been talking about that about month 3. Y'all should talk about that a long time ago.
But that person is checking all the boxes, and you feel it in your spirit that this is the person I'm meant to be with.
Mr. Barr, you got to go off more than feeling, because feeling not going to keep you. You know that. Feeling not going to keep you. I'm just going to say, you have to work. This is something that we like daily, because even when we thought we were going to talk about this, you're like, well, I think we're in a good place about it. I said, well, we're working through it. You know, we're not going to fake the funk. It's something to work through. So my recommendation, I think this is fair to have 2 different opinions about this.
Yeah, that's fair.
My recommendation, this is, if I was a single person, I don't recommend for a single person to have to do this. I feel like, wow. I know that sounds harsh, but
sounds harsh.
It does. But as a married woman, I'm like, you know what? God is going to see us through. And I do have strong faith. And I know that I've seen God work. And I know what can happen. And I know what can come from things. So that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a wife praying for my husband. Like, and in the Bible, there's scriptures that tell you about, like, if your wife is praying, you know, there's just different things that are laid out for you. That's kind of different from someone that has not made the commitment to marry a person that you have to stick by. So I have taken a different commitment to you. There we go. See, there it is. There it is. I have taken a different commitment, saying that I do and saying those vows, opposed to someone that is still single, that they have not made that same commitment. So I am going to do things to honor you in a different way from a single person. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. That makes better sense now.
I mean,
now it's not so, because it did come across harsh, but you understand, like, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But
having a spiritual base is important. The only reason why I say is because we look at it differently when 2 people can get married and practice different religions. Like, people who get married may practice Judaism and Christianity, or Buddhism and Christianity. I've seen it work, so it can work.
But Joe, but that is hard. Like, when you truly believe what you believe, that is hard. Like, if you was like way doing something like
You gotta explain to people what
it's what would you call it? It's that means just I don't know. Well, if we were just doing something really on a wide, big, different spectrum, Joe, it's hard, especially when you're rearing children. Like, ultimately, you're right. Jackson's going to eventually make his own decisions. Like, does he want to stay here with daddy or go to church with mommy? Like, that's a lot. And if I'm going to be honest, and if you don't have to deal with that, if you don't have to have that as one of your burdens to bear, I would, because the things that you believe in are so heavy. You know, your beliefs, or that's your so many times your core values. And when you have to be able to kind of bend that for your children or, you know, other people in your life, that's difficult. So that's really why I'm saying, like, I don't recommend it. I don't. Man, people probably gonna be bashing me, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Now, would I change the journey that we've gone through? Nope, I would not. And I don't know. My faith is what keeps me every day. So I have faith that things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to. And it took a long time for me to get there. I mean, let's just be honest. 2016, 2017, that's some years ago now that we're on 2021. Like, so I've had time to process it and know what I'm going to stand for. I'm sure people are wondering, like, Jonessa, are you ever going to, you know, convert to the way Joe believes? And at first, I think Joe kind of wanted me to, but it's a no. And it's like, at first I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But it's really a no now. Yeah. Because
when you become, like, when you walk into any different path, you become excited about it because it's new information and you feel like you have to, just like any religious doctrine, like people go out and knock on doors and pass out pamphlets. It's the same thing when
you're witnessing.
Yeah. When you find out new information about your spirituality and your spiritual journey, because it has helped you so much, but the key word in that sentence is you. But you feel like, okay, because I feel like I'm awake now. My eyes been open. I need to get others to open their eyes. So it's that initial phase where you feel like you have to go and wake others up. But the longer you're in your journey, or the longer you're in whatever practice you're in, you start to realize that it's really not about going out and saving or converting other people. Your actions ultimately will be the thing that makes people curious, and people still assume that I'm a Christian because of my actions, but that's just who I am. Like,
but see, you now listen now.
Well, because I'm not.
But at the end of the day, you got to also think, regardless of how you want to box it in a way, some of those values still do come from Christianity, Joe. Like,
but it doesn't matter. People assume that because the way I carry myself and we're in the South, it would be no different if we lived in India. People would probably assume that I was a devout Hindu, like practice Hinduism, because that's just me. My core, my spirituality, I'm a genuine person.
You're
I'm a fair person. I'm a person that's going to treat my brother or my sister the way I would want to be treated. Yeah. And that's like I said before when I started, that's a core factor in any religion. If you study it, that's a core belief system. So that's why people, because this is the primary religion here in the South, is Christianity. That's why people assume that I am, because that's just who I am. But it doesn't matter if I were in China you would probably think I was a devout Buddhist because that's just who I am.
I hear what you're saying. but the thing, I hear what you're saying. And I'm sure the audience hears what you're saying as well. But there's a deeper connection to that. And I'm going to leave it at that.
That's your belief.
That's my belief.
Yeah, that's your belief system.
My belief system. I feel like there's
that's your belief system.
A deeper connect to that.
And I could turn it the other way and tell you how my belief system is something you're walking into. But it's really not about that. But I say all that is because you get excited when you're exposed to something new. But then you get to a point to where you're at peace with your journey. You're at peace with the path that you're taking. And it's really about making sure that you are living correctly, regardless of what you believe in. And because no lie, I'm like, man, what are we going to do? Because I'm steadfast in my belief system. So I had the same thoughts as you did. What if she doesn't decide to quote unquote convert, to use that term? And it's crazy. One of the individuals who I follow and pay close attention to, their spiritual beliefs are like mine. And he was going on a rant one day, and what he said, it resonated so much because I was in that place. He said, I'm tired of seeing, he used the term brothers, get this new knowledge and new information, and you get upset because your girl maybe still practicing Christianity and leaving her. It's like, what is wrong with y'all? You stay with that woman. You stick it out. That woman has been with you from day one. That woman has still been praying you from day one. Just because you got into this new information, that doesn't mean that you completely get rid of everything that's old and the stuff that's helped you get to the place that you are at. I hate seeing that. He said that breaks my heart when I see individuals gain new information, new knowledge, and become conscious and want to get rid of everyone. He said that's not what this path is about. That's not the way to go. And I was like, well, there's my answer right there.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to think that as someone practicing the Christian faith, it would be easy for me to do that. Well, he's not a Christian. I'm gonna have to leave him. Yeah. So I think that we both just have to continue to be understanding. Yeah. And realize we do have differences, and my belief system, I believe it's going to work out how it's supposed to. And I don't know. I do. I genuinely do. I felt like there was a point where I was just like, I can't try to make you believe in something that you necessarily don't. I cannot make you. And just like you said, it's by your actions and it's about how you live. You saw Christianity growing up, whether however you feel about it. I'm still a Christian. You see me. So I am not going to try to push something down your throat that you don't want to receive. Yeah. You receive what you receive and you take what you take. And I think that is going to be honored more than anything. Yeah. I really do. Yeah. And even doing this podcast, I hope that it allows people to see, and I'm sure it's going to be hard because religion is something that is so, it can be very, very touchy, but I just want you to just think about other people, because I've had friends that I've been able to talk to. Now they've had totally different situations, but I was just you need to be understanding. I was able to say that and really mean it, because I've had to be understanding in this relationship. And so out of anything, for the people that are listening, if you are practicing Christianity or if you're practicing any type of religion, just for other people, be understanding. You still have your core values and you still believe and have your faith that you do. But just because someone does not believe like you does not mean that they're just X'd off and all of these things are going to happen, because ultimately we're all trying to figure this thing out, and we're all believing what we think is going to get us to our ultimate destiny that we want to get there. Yeah. Remember, this is a belief. If you believe in your heart, so that's in the Bible. So I just really feel like we as a people, as a whole, you have to be understanding of other people. And
that's really, this episode really wasn't so much about our spiritual belief system. It was really so much about embracing differences, because
It's a huge difference.
It breaks my heart when, like we touched on the last episode, when we see peers getting divorced, or we see during the pandemic how individuals really were with their spouse or significant other for a significant amount of time, and they couldn't get over the differences that they found out about each other. But you have to understand that there are going to be differences, and to give it an honest effort, give it truly try, because if we could get over this, because even though Jonessa and I, we have our different beliefs, spirituality is still at the top of our individual food chains. It's still at the top of our hierarchy. And if we are able, something so important, if we are able to stick with it and still have a great marriage, not a good marriage, but a great marriage, I'm sure there are differences smaller than that if you really try to work at it, you can get over it too. And not even just in marriage, just in life in general.
It's not even a get over it. I don't know what the term would be to describe it.
People don't even try.
I think it would be like a work
through it. Yeah.
Because it is work that you have to do, because you had to say, yes, I'll go to church with you. And I had to say, yeah, so we had to work through things.
Yeah.
Being able to work through.
Yeah. And I know there's been a lot of changes going on in the world, but one of the things that, whether you see it or not, what I do like is that we are being we're having to really think about differences a lot more, and we can't just simply dismiss things that we don't, quote unquote, understand or dismiss. We're having to really be more tolerant. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, with different belief systems. And because it's so easy to stay in your box and stay in your bubble and just be like, I don't want to deal with that group of people who don't think like me. I don't want to deal with that person who doesn't think like me, because that's really not how life works. You're going to come across individuals who don't believe and don't think like you, but that doesn't mean that they are a bad person. They just don't think and believe the same things that you do, but we still can coexist and we still can love each other.
And I mean, that's even with like politics.
Yes.
That's with the choices of the way that you choose to spend your money. Like, I mean, there are a lot of differences that you work through with people. Like, you don't see eye to eye, but you can't say that person is, oh, that's an awful person. No, because our differences, that's what sometimes can bring us together. And it is important to have people that, yes, it's good to have people around you that believe the same thing and are the same, but there's also some beauty in having people that aren't like you, because how will I ever learn about broccoli casserole and just different things? That was a very horrible example, but how do you learn about differences if you're never around people that are different from you? You don't. Exactly. You don't. If we're consistently around the same people, not a good thing.
Not a good thing at all.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
So, I'm with you. I hope that you learn just to be understanding. Be understanding of people.
Be understanding. And if you're in a marriage is beautiful. It's challenging, because when you're with the person that you are meant to be with, that person is going to challenge you, because that person is helping you grow to ultimately become the person that you are meant to become.
Yeah.
And I believe that my wife, not even believe, I know that my wife and my marriage to her is only pushing me towards becoming the person that I'm ultimately meant to become, and figuring this thing out. So it's not, like she said, she articulated very well, the differences help you grow, and you can learn so much from individuals who don't think, act, and believe the same things that you do.
Yeah.
Awesome. You hear our dog in the background.
Yeah.
Getting down.
Yeah, Cinnamon's eating.
No, she's not supposed to be eating at this time at night.
Yeah, but
but this has been a
this was
great,
a vulnerable one. I will tell you, because when I call them couch cousins now. I liked it. I used it in the last episode, so now I'm going to say,
cool with it. I'm cool with it. Go with it.
When our couch cousins hear this one, like they're really going to be in our business, because
you know me, I don't care.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, because this is something that we don't. I mean, I don't even know if some of you.
So.
I don't even know if some of your family members know.
I don't think it's. I think they know. They just don't. Honestly, because the world is changing, it's not really that even like foreign anymore. I hate using that word. That's the word.
That's not. We're botching it up at the end of the podcast.
It's not something that's. It's not something
unfamiliar.
Yeah, it's not unfamiliar, because that's not, everybody says, "Oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual," and it's not something that's very unfamiliar. It's kind of, I hate using this word, it's kind of trendy now.
That's awful. See, listen, the vocabulary terms of people, they're going down.
Yeah, I know, but it's trendy to say that. But I will say this, because we are going to bring a minister on our podcast. And I promise you I'm gonna stop talking. I keep going and going, but
yeah, you do.
I don't want people, because what hurts me and what concerns me is that I see people leaving the church and leaving the Christian faith for bad reasons and
church hurt.
Yeah, and church hurt, and not wanting to have any type of spiritual connection. And I don't like seeing that. Like, make no mistake about it. Like, I did not make this decision based on hurt at all. The complete opposite. But we are going to bring a minister on there, because Jonessa and I really are big into spirituality, and we know how important it is. And that is something, a spiritual connection, whether you're practicing it through a religion or not, is still the most important thing. And it breaks my heart to see younger people not having any type of spiritual connection. I don't like that. So don't make any mistake about it. That is very important, extremely important. And don't make a decision based on hurt.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're going to let Cinnamon finish eating.
She's popping her gums, y'all. She's living her best life in her bowl.
And we promise you that we are going to. It may not always be on a Monday.
Yes, it is. No, it's going to be on a Monday. Consistency is key.
Yes,
Joseph.
it is.
We can do it.
We're going to continue to bring you great information and great episodes. Yep. Hopefully, you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, this one was a heavy one. I don't care what anybody say. This one was a heavy one.
Listen,
it was a lot for me, huh?
It's just stronger.
It's a lot for me. But yeah, you gonna close this out the right way?
Thank you for listening to another spectacular episode of the Jonessa Podcast. Make sure
Conversations from the Couch.
Follow us on Instagram at
the Jonessa Podcast.
Find us on YouTube. We're going to start putting the footage up on YouTube, but go ahead and subscribe. Watch our old videos. Hit the like button. You know how this thing works. Support us. We appreciate it. We love y'all.
We love y'all so much. Thank you for listening.
See you next time.
Bye, cousins.